Hey everyone, welcome to this full moon Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for the full moon on Wednesday, October 24th, 2018. All right, so we have the full moon right in between Pisces and Aries. If you were expecting me to say just Aries, be sure to check out the link down below. We are using the actual size of the constellations called True Sidereal Astrology. All right, so full moon right in between these two constellations, and they're very different. So definitely this blend of energy. Full moons are a time of essentially culminating and integrating this energy and implementing it into our experiences. So in this case with Pisces, it's about receptivity and acceptance and trust. And with Aries, it's about mixing that with initiative, action, and self-willfulness. So excellent time to develop both of those very different water and fire energies. Now, with that being said, the full moon is in a very close conjunction up to Uranus retrograde. So there could certainly be with this a lot of awareness about what we may want to change in our life, particularly changes that are more in alignment with our true self and do invoke greater freedom in our life. All right, we also have an opposition up to Venus retrograde with this, so great to still be reconsidering relationship or partnership type of stuff. And a trine up to Saturn suggests some really good discipline and patience supporting us with this full moon. All right, so let's take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, so here is the chart for the full moon. It will be on Wednesday, October 24th, and the exact time on this is going to be at 13:06. That's Eastern time for the Americas. All right, so if you want to do the calculations there, but for most of us on the 24th here. All right, so this video will be covering the days surrounding the full moon, so Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but let's take a look at this full moon. So great time, as full moons always are, of essentially doing a status check, seeing that there is this maybe shift and pivot that could be taking place this week based on whatever insights do come in. And that's what the full moon is: greater awareness, greater insights, and with this, implementing it into our life and experiences. But usually with the full moon, it does require some sort of shift or transition, simply because there's new awareness, right? So anytime there's something new, there's always some sort of new change or something like this. Now, this is a very important full moon, mostly because it's in such a close conjunction up to Uranus. I mean, within a degree. So very collectively significant. Now, it's also important because it's right in between these two constellations of Aries and Pisces, which is about implementation of both. So with Pisces, it has been these past couple days leading up to the full moon, and now mixing with the full moon, a great time for cultivating these receptive qualities. Now, the reason this is so important with Uranus is that Uranus has been transiting through Pisces for about 10 years, okay? And he's finishing up Pisces. He's gone retrograde since August. He's going back into Pisces to finish up one last sort of lesson or experience for all of us until about the middle part of next year regarding trust, regarding faith, regarding letting go, and in that process, cultivating greater freedom. And that's essentially what Uranus has been helping us develop during this transit, and collectively we've integrated a lot of it. We're like veterans of it by this point, because this is the last transit of Pisces with Uranus. So developing this with the full moon, how can we let go, trust, accept what is, and find the inner freedom of that? And that inner freedom is that sort of message from our true self, which is what Uranus essentially is helping us connect to. And with that true self, maybe some changes we may want to make, or things we can do that create a life that's more of a reflection of our true self, or of our ideals, our aspirations, our hopes, our dreams. And we may not know specifically what that is because it's Pisces. This is the vastness of life. This is like the ocean. It's unknown mentally or rationally, but it can be felt. And this is why it's so important to listen to this inner guidance during such a, conjunction, because that's where the insights are when we're talking about Pisces. That inner awareness is what's leading us to that direction that is, again, a life or situation or changes that are a greater reflection of that true self. So that's the Pisces side of it. Now, Uranus did get fairly close to Aries before he went retrograde. Again, this was back in August. So if you want to kind of reflect around August 7th, if there's anything that shifted in this area or has been leading to greater of this Pisces receptivity since then in particular, it could be part of it. But with Aries, where Uranus is going to go next year and where the moon's going to go right after this full moon, is going to be on developing the fire side to this water energy. Okay, so fire with the case of Aries is about action. It's about initiative. It's about doing things that require willing ourselves, courage to do things, confidence. Again, full moon, time of usually action, initiative. So supportive with the Aries type of energy. So how can we do this? How can we set the initiatives, take action, will ourselves, while at the same time be receptive? And that really is the sort of emblem of this full moon, is the integration of both, because they're very different. It's very easy to get caught up into the doing with Aries and not enough being with Pisces. And likewise, it's easy to get caught up into too much being and not enough doing or action. So finding that sort of integration point for you personally could be a really good way of cultivating this full moon. And again, there's just this awareness coming in. So allow the full moon to invoke that awareness within you. And there'll likely be some sort of at least intuitive or inner awareness that will then help shift any directions or new sort of changes that might be occurring this week. All right, so that's the this side of it. Now, of course, all full moons do involve oppositions. So in the case always with the sun, but in this case we do have Venus retrograde opposite up to the full moon. And this has been in Virgo. So when we're talking about this Pisces stuff of receptivity, Virgo's been this time for about the past month and a half almost of really developing our routine and our habits, right? The importance of also kind of like the doing, right? What can we do that's in an everyday experience repeatedly, continuously to develop healthy habits, healthy routines perhaps? Maybe it's with our work, maybe it's with our diet, maybe it's with, anything that does require sort of day-to-day energy. So doing that with Virgo, how can we strive towards that sort of continuous development, continuous personal growth really in the physical realm that can help balance and support whatever this more etheric, insight, freedom-oriented type of stuff is from this side of the chart. All right, and now Venus retrograde with this has been this reconsideration about maybe relationships in our life or partnerships. And we do want to be very flexible with this, right? So it's a good time to be trying new things with relationships, partnerships, but not getting ourselves into anything we can't get back out of, right? So it's good to just be flexible because information is going to be changing. We're learning a lot about, these types of things like relating or current partnerships or things like this. And so we do want to be flexible with that. And because the full moon's invoking it, there could be a shift with it, some sort of awareness perhaps, or understanding about relationships or at the fundamental level about our values. And that could facilitate this full moon as well. But continue to be flexible with your values, with relationship stuff, possibly with financial stuff as well, since Venus is retrograde and we're learning a lot about that stuff as she continues that retrograde transit. All right, so that's the opposition there. And then Saturn is supporting this full moon. This is a very supportive full moon. A lot of these things, the oppositions, conjunctions, they're arguably very neutral in nature, right? And then trines are more supportive in nature, so it's leaning towards that. Now Saturn here is giving us collectively this bit of productivity, perhaps, a very good sense of maybe discipline or patience or responsibility that we can utilize. That can be easy to utilize with the trine supporting this. All right, so with whatever these shifts, changes are, whatever these awareness, these things are that we're becoming aware of this week, we do have that support of the grounded energy. Saturn is about that constructive approach, the long-term approach, and us likely, at least on some level, having the patience and discipline to see things in the long-term perspective and to, again, take the slow and steady steps in the everyday with the routine and whatnot, with the habits that Saturn's also supporting with the sextile on that side. All right, so everyone, that is the full moon. As you can see here, these aspects are basically the ones that I've discussed. Now, going exact on Wednesday is going to be the Saturn sextiling the Venus side of it. So along with that full moon energy, there could be this particularly maybe grounded energy with relationships. Maybe just feeling a bit stable, grounded there, all right, that kind of a thing. All right, but the full moon will be at 13:06 Eastern time on Wednesday. We'll likely feel it both days, maybe something shifting, maybe Wednesday or Thursday time, involving that sort of pivot shift of the full moon. All right, so everyone, have a fantastic full moon. Thank you again for all of your likes, comments, and shares with these videos. And I'll see you all on Wednesday for the daily forecast. Take care.